little funny stories about, a few incidents about what he was doing in class, and then laying the groundwork for the lesson that had to be learned. Okay, if you keep acting a fool in class and not doing what you're supposed to be doing, there's a time and place for everything. Somebody can get hurt. And so that got weaved in. One of his imaginary friends got hurt in a dream sequence.
Right.
And then at the end, he learned that, okay, that I can do what I do, the things I can be funny and silly and everything, but there's a time and a place. And then you can continue on to still exhibit the proper behavior that you need to exhibit at the proper time. And so just understanding how to weave those different elements in there together to hold the intention to engage and hold the attention of your intended audience, which, kids are very
Right.
attentive when it's something that strikes their interest.
Well, it's so important that when you write a children's book, and I'm not saying nobody else can, but when you're an English teacher and you're writing it, you just seem to have all those little nuggets that you're able to tap into everything as far as what the child should be reading, what the parent would love for their child to read, and what the Department of Education would want children to know and to
Mhm.
read. And it's just like it's a well oiled thing when you have a teacher that's writing as well. But Dee Dee, let me ask you a question. What message or lesson do you hope readers take away from your contribution eyes the anthology?
I would hope that they would see that not everybody's adoption story is a bad one, that there are good outcomes, there are great outcomes, and that if you're thinking about adopting, thinking about fostering, you should do it. If you have love in your heart for a child, you should do it because there are so many kids out here that need that kind of love and upbringing. And I just wanted to basically honor my parents in that writing.
Wow. Wow. And I could just imagine how proud they are of you, with what you have written and just the way that you turned out. And I'm sitting here smiling like I'm
Thank
the
you.
parent. Patricia, what was the most challenging part of bringing, what was the most challenging part of bringing
The most challenging part of bringing
amounts like
the most challenging part of bringing it to putting the story together.
Christopher's times out?
Right. So actually the most challenging part,
Yes.
it wasn't it wasn't the storytelling.
I'm saying because you lived with your son, you knew how he was in school.
Right. I knew how he was in school and all of that. And so putting it together, it wasn't the writing part because he fed me. He like overwhelmed me with the material because of all the nonsense. But then and couple that with the fact that English is my background. That's what I majored in. That's what I did in my day job. So the storytelling was not challenging at all. I knew how to put a good story together. So I wasn't concerned about that. But then it was after that. I knew how to work with an illustrator because as a marketing writer, I dealt with graphic designers all the time, so I knew how to speak their language to tell them what I wanted. But the issue came when, okay, now I have this document, this manuscript. Now what? How do I copyright it? I know I'm supposed to, but I don't know how to do that. And then what publisher do I go with? I know I want to self-publish, but there are a million self-publishers. So then this is where I really stepped out on faith because I just knew, okay, complete the manuscript and then you'll know what to do next. When it'll be time for you to know what to do next because I'm still wondering in the back of my mind. And so about just a few week or so, it wasn't very long after I had a complete solid manuscript, I saw a notice, a flyer about a publishing workshop held by Natalie R. Murphy from the Distinguished Authors Guild, and it's called From Pen to Publish. I saw this flyer, and one of the first things it says was, are you ready to publish your book? Do you need to know how to copyright it? So that was for me. And from there, I went to the writing workshop. I was running to it. I couldn't wait. I was excited. I got all of those questions answered, and I was ready to cross the publishing finish line. But then, even after that, okay, so now what do I do? How do I, once I publish, what happens next? So, and Natalie again, then she strongly encouraged me to submit my book to the Distinguished Authors Guild for award consideration. And I was hesitant at first. I'm like, what do you mean? I just published it. The ink is not dry. What do you mean award? What? And so she's like, you need to do this. And I thought about, I took a step back. Wait a minute. She's an award winning, accomplished author. She's telling me to do this. I believe she knows what she's talking about. So I decided to follow her advice. And therefore,